Our friend Bill Davidge, Fox Sports Ohio, Blue Jackets analyst, joins us right now. Bill, were you at the Cannonball last night?
Oh, I certainly was. I
I saw some of the pictures. It was an 80s night theme?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And how did Bill Davidge dress for this?
I was a little bit of Payne Stewart.
I like it.
I had the Argyle sweater on. I had the knickers. I had the saddle shoes. You know what I carried around?
What's that?
I carried around a one iron.
I like that.
There you go.
Very well done.
Because nobody hits a one iron anymore.
No.
By the way, when I was at the game the other day, I was trying to get up to go say hello to Bill. You can't get close to him.
Oh, come on,
Stanley. You can't get close to him. Such a celebrity. It's like at the end of the game, they're surrounded by people, cameras, bright lights, and so I can't get there.
We were probably on the air, right?
Yeah. Hey, it's been fun, though, Bill, at Nationwide lately. 7-1-1 at home in their last 9. Obviously, you think of where 1 week ago right now, where we were with this team. Corpy's going to start, Bob suspended, Nashville coming to town, then they got to go to Washington. Holy cow, what a difference a week makes, because they've won 4 in a row, and now they're at the top of the division. What has sparked this? And is it Corpy? What has changed these last 4 games? Not that they were playing terrible before, but what's gotten it done for these guys right now?
Well, it's a little bit of everything. And Stanley, you know as well as anybody, sometimes when you have adversity in a team, you learn how to grow a little bit of skin. You know, you basically take a little bit, and when you take a little bit, sometimes you change the way you approach things. And I think that's what the team did. They're looking out for their goaltender. They're looking out for the team and what they've really worked hard for all year, and having a culture that emphasizes winning and teamwork. And everybody's been putting forth the effort. And it's just nice to see that Jonas Korpisalo, his game begins to rise, and he's playing well. And Bob, he sits and waits and gets his opportunity when called upon.
The situation with Bob, we're a month away from the trade deadline, and everybody knows what's going on. I'm just wondering, Bill, how difficult is this next month and the decisions for, Jarmo Kekalainen and the front office? The team's playing well now. What do you do? What are those conversations like in the Blue Jackets office right now with JD and him as they try to sort through what to do with a couple of great players that, we all know the contract situation that they're in?
Yeah, it's the most difficult time that the team has ever had. They've never been in a situation like this before. We had Jarmo on the other day, and that was the last question I asked him. I said, the end of February, the time comes up, decisions to be made. What are you looking to try to do? And, and his professional answer is, we'll do whatever we can to make this team better. And he doesn't rule anything out, but I think he likes the team that he has right now. And whether they do move a guy like Bob or the Breadman, which I don't think will happen, I think that they'll hang on to him and basically, just act like they're rentals for the rest of the year. Some teams bring a rental in for the end of the year. We got 2 guys right now that are world-class hockey players. So to be able to turn them away and give them to something else in hopes of trying to find that so-called magic, I'd sooner have these guys part of this squad right now, because you see the job that Panarin is doing. I mean, it's been unbelievable, his play with that number 1 line. And then Bob, what he's capable of doing, and to be able to have 2 goaltenders, to be able to have another superstar in Panarin being part of your lineup, that's what you're looking for. Unless something really falls, off the globe and into your hands, I don't see these 2 guys going anywhere.
Visiting with Bill Davidge, Fox Sports Ohio, talking Blue Jackets who have won 4 in a row. Montreal in town tomorrow night, and then they are at Minnesota Saturday, and then they get a 9-day break. All right, Stan yesterday was kind of making fun of me because it felt like I was grasping at straws in terms of Artemi Panarin. But am I nuts to think that it was am I grasping for straws? Is it a glimmer of hope that the billboard for Artemi Panarin went up and he actually went out and took his picture with the billboard? I go, maybe that's a sign that maybe he's at least thinking about staying in. Or am I just wishful thinking right now?
I think we all have a little bit of hope, and until you hear something different, why beat yourself up on the negativity?
Yeah.
Why don't you just embrace what you have right now and be happy with what he's able to do. I mean, you think of the pressure that's on him. What I like is the young man, and he's not that old at 26, the young man wants to play the game of hockey. He wants to do the best he can. I watched him last night in the social atmosphere. He was engaged. He was around everybody. So we don't, who knows what's going to happen, but I know the team would love to have him back and be part of what they're trying to build on. And I think that's given him a lot of second thought, too, on what he needs to do and what he would like to do. And it's going to be a decision that certainly will happen, I think, after the fact. I know that there's going to be some meetings here at the All-Star weekend pertaining to what will be done, what can be done, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I think we've got two rentals, if that be the case, and they don't make any moves, that can certainly help this hockey team try to find a place in the playoffs and move on past at least that first round for sure.
Okay, John Tortorella hates these questions directed at him, so I'm gonna direct them to you about John Tortorella. A couple of milestones that he's passed in the last week: 600 career wins, and he's like hates talking about those numbers. And he's now the most tenured coach in Blue Jacket history. He's coached more games than anybody else. Can you just the team seem? I think was a lot of worry with Torts' style that would it wear on the team. The team, and we just mentioned it. We started the conversation when adversity struck. This team has risen to the occasion, and I have to think the coach has something to do with it. What has Torts done, and how has he got this team responding to him?
Well, let's go all the way up to the top of the ladder. When you get John Davidson, you've got Jarmo Kekalainen, and then they hire a guy like John Tortorella. John Davidson knew John Tortorella in New York. John Tortorella is the first to admit that he has evolved as a coach over time. He continues to do it. Things that he did 25 years ago, there's not even a chance he'd think about doing right now. He's basically self-evaluating himself every night after a game. What can he do to make a better hockey team? And I like what he does. I'll be honest with you. He pushes the buttons on these guys. It's right straight to the heart. He does his meetings on the ice. I watched him this morning grab a couple of the players that are in question on how they're playing and where they need to go, which is good. They're not long conversations, but the directness is there. He instills in these players something that they haven't even thought about being, and basically, hopefully, he gets more out of them. And especially under the confines of what this team is all about and the culture and what it's all about. I love the way he approaches it. I really do. I love listening to his approach each and every day. I think anybody in the media that has an interest in finding out, where a guy comes from, this guy's got one of the biggest hearts in the world. He shows his emotions very well. That's why he stands off a few times, because he is an emotional guy, and I can't blame him. I've got a lot of those same characteristics.
We asked you about the two guys that have contract questions, Panarin and Bob. How about the two all-stars that the Blue Jackets have that are having tremendous years and are, whatever happens with those two of the cornerstones of the franchise going forward. But Cam Atkinson has played great, and Seth Jones continues to be great. Are those two guys emerging as... I don't know, emerging might be the wrong word because they have been, but with their play, with their leadership style in the locker room, how important cornerstones are those guys for this franchise, not only this year but down the road?
Well, the key is you've got a captain in Nick Foligno, but then you've got a leadership group, and you've got a couple of guys that have a chance to wear an A, and one of them would be Seth Jones, the other one would be Cam Atkinson. But I think Cam has really found himself in the last little bit where, 2 years ago he gets married. This past year he's had a baby. He ends up signing a long-term deal. He gets involved in a business, the Battery, which is a hockey development area out on the west side of town. He's got everything in place that you want to have as a player. I think he feels relaxed. He's playing with one of the best centermen in Pierre-Luc Dubois and one of the premier left wingers in the game in the Breadman. He's set. He's ready to go. He's going to be around here for a long time. And the other guy, he's a captain waiting to happen. Not that Nicky Foligno's not going to be our captain for a while, but this guy has gotten and showing some great leadership. And just turning 24 years old, to be able to watch Seth Jones dominate a game. Lately, he looks like he's been, just a little tired. but he's playing with a young guy too, and Zach Werenski that's putting up some pretty good numbers. I know Jonesy in the last few games, I think he's got 7 or 8 points in the last 10 games for a defenseman, and Zach, he's got his assists here and there, and scores the odd goal. There's good competition offensively for them, but no, we're very blessed. I think we got one of the best defense in the National Hockey League. When you take a look at a guy like Werenski and Jones, and Harrington played the other night with Savard, Murray and Nudavara, Kukan, he can fill in as well. It's a good, some good depth, but 2 guys that do stand out. You just mentioned it, having a nice right winger in Cam Atkinson, and then the right-handed defenseman going back for his 3rd All-Star game in Seth Jones. They are fun to watch. We're very fortunate to have them.
Bill, real quick, I want to ask you, this team is dynamite in overtime games. The 3-on-3 format fits them well. I thought it was interesting. Torts the other day said, we never practice 3-on-3. We don't, but why is this team, I think it's, I guess, fairly obvious, because when you got a guy like Artemi Panarin, that probably helps. But why is this team so good in that 3-on-3 format?
You know what? And Torts kind of alludes to the fact, first of all, we don't practice it. Second of all, you've got some skill that you don't want to, stymie. You have to do this, you have to do that. These guys have figured it out. And as many overtime games as these guys have played, it's upwards of 10 right now, they know what needs to be done to be able to regroup instead of, you want to be able to hang on the puck as long as you can. Being able to make line changes is all key. But these guys have got it figured out, and they know how to do it. And they're one of the premier teams in the National Hockey League right now when it comes to overtime. I agree with Torts. I'd like to get rid of the shootout and continue to play 3-on-3 until you do have a winner. It's so much fun to watch because it just shows you the skill and the ability of these players. They can skate, they can handle the puck, and when you put a guy out there like Seth Jones and Pierre-Luc Dubois, and then the hands and the feet of an Artemi Panarin and the ability to finish like Cam Atkinson, you've got some skilled players. Let them play the game, and that's what it's all about.
It certainly is exciting, especially when the Jackets get the win like they've done more often than not. Bill, thanks for taking a few minutes. We'll be watching for you tomorrow night, and next time Stan's at a game, he'll just interrupt you while you're on the air.
I'll be back. I'm just going to push through the security they got around you.
Yeah, Stanley, you just have to just throw the hand up, and I'll make sure that the C's part for you.
That's exactly. Hey, Bill.
All right, partner.